Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be explaining how to make a process paragraph. As you already know, paragraphs, there's a lot of different types of paragraphs depending what your message wants to be to the audience. So we're going to get to a process paragraph, which is, as you can tell by the title, right? A process is like a way that you can explain somebody step by step how you can make or do something. So without further ado, let's get into my presentation. First and foremost, we have a process paragraph, and as I mentioned, what is a process paragraph? So we use a process paragraph to describe a series of events or actions that need to be followed in order to complete a task. For instance, right, you want to show somebody how to make an airplane, how to cook certain foods, how to go about a job interview. There's different things that you can explain somebody by giving them certain directions and using some different time of signal words, of time. You can tell and explain somebody how to go about doing the process. So what a process paragraph does, first and foremost, they discuss how to make or do something. They also tell you to describe how to do something, right? And it shows a time order. So for instance, there is a process that you want to go about. For example, like as I mentioned before, you want to show somebody how to make an airplane, like a toy airplane, or how to prepare for an interview, how to cook a recipe for a certain type of food. So you have to follow a certain order. Through a process paragraph, you can explain your audience the steps that you go about how to make let's say a recipe or something, right? For instance, right, a process paragraph does two things. And the two things that, as I mentioned before, is it gives direction by telling someone how to do something. For instance, maybe you want to show how to cook, let's say, pupusas, or you want to show them how to cook a pizza, or you want to show somebody how to cook a pasta or any type of food. So with a process paragraph, step by step, using the signal words, you will show somebody step by step in a chronological order how to go about doing that. Also, it gives information about how some process was or is to be done. For instance, if you want to show your viewers, let's say there's people that want to know how to go about getting a visa. So in order to get a visa, there is a process that you need to follow, right? So in a process paragraph, you can show somebody the steps that you have to follow in order to apply for a visa. So those are two things that you can do in a process paragraph. And as I've mentioned before, in a process paragraph, it uses time, order, signal words. Like, for example, to start off, you will say first. First you do this and this. Second, you do this and this. Next, you do this and that, and like that, you are explaining somebody the steps that they have to, the procedure or step that they have to do, and direction they gotta follow in order to accomplish a task. For example, cooking something, or as I mentioned before, applying for a visa. So while you are writing your process paragraph, you have to remember to use imperatives. And what imperatives to do, they give direction and instructions about something. You have to do this. In order to do this, you have to follow certain procedures. You also use models to express advice, necessity, or prohibition in a process. For example, in a visa, you can give an advice to somebody that don't lie in your interview, or things like that. You have to have your papers in order for you to be able to process your visa and things like that, right? So you have to remember to use imperatives, and at the same time use model to give advice or prohibition of what they shouldn't do. So now let's get into how to write the paragraph, the process paragraph. First and foremost, we always start with a topic sentence. It doesn't matter what type of paragraph it is. It's a process paragraph, it's a cause and effect paragraph. You always got to start with a topic sentence. And what does a topic sentence does? It names the topic and tells the reader to look for the process of the task. So for example, if you're going to write about a visa, you will start the topic about how you can go about, let's say, applying for a visa. In my example below, you could say, like the one I have below, it says, you can cook the best pasta for supper if you follow the 5 steps, right? And when you mention that in your topic sentence, because the topic sentence is, what it gives the reader exactly what they are going to be doing. So in the supporting sentence, that's where you start writing your steps or the procedure that you need to follow in order to do something. So in the supporting sentence, right, are the steps clearly explained with detail about each step in a chronological order. For example, like I was mentioning in the order signal words, for example, you will say, first, boil 6 quarts of water for a pound of pasta. Next, you add 3 tablespoons of salt. Then you add the pasta, and so on, right? So that will be like an order of steps that you got to do in your supporting sentence, explaining step by step how to do something. Then next comes the concluding sentence. And in the concluding sentence, you can either show the last step or the results of the process. So you can say, well, an example will be, finally, add a tablespoon of pasta water until you have the right sauce. Because in here, right, when you are making pasta, then you make the sauce, and remember that you have to have like a consistency of sauce. So while you add in the water, you want the sauce to be to the type of sauce that you like, that you prefer. So in the concluding sentence, you can have, the last step, or you can ensure the result of, the process of making the pasta, or the last process that you need to follow in order to get a visa. So this would be right now my explanation for today for the parts of a process paragraph. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.